Hey everyone, today we're going to have a look at the most current beta version for Minecraft Education Edition. Okay, so for educators that are using Minecraft Education Edition and you are signed up on the education community, you will have the ability to download the recent beta that has just come out. It is 1.10.04, which is essentially Caves and Cliffs Part 2. Alright, so this beta for me is very much a cosmetic change. There is a lot that has happened to the biome environments and a little bit around the build space parameters. There's not much in the way of new inventory items or any type of new kind of educational specific items to capture students' work, but needless to say, these are some pretty cool updates which are great to see. So down in the description, I put in what is happening in this beta version. I'm going to pull out some of the most interesting things first, and we're going to start with the biomes that have been added to this beta version. Alright, so first thing you're going to notice if you're in the beta version, the background has changed to the most recent one that we see on Caves and Cliffs. But let's click through, let's go to play, and we're actually going to start in the lesson library. So from here, let's have a look at our starter worlds. Let's see what's happening in biome. So yes, we can see some new ones coming through here. We've got a new one there. Let's keep going down. Some basically looks like they're based around the nethers. So Salt Sand Valley. We can see in there Warped Forest. So we saw a lot of the new items that are based around the building of this world come through in the last beta, which is the most current version of Minecraft that is running. And it looks like that these biomes have essentially just been added into our biome library, which is great. Alright, so the next one we want to have a look at here is 3D Biome Generation. It sounds a lot more fancier than I think it actually is. But essentially, we're kind of used to, well, if we just were to spawn an infinite world, to have this vast plain here, and we would have to move through for quite a while until we would move out of that type of biome. What we're seeing now, though, is that these biomes are starting to more so sit on top of each other, and they're kind of merging a little bit more. Especially with the caves, you'll notice with when we look at some of the caves that are appearing, that those caves and the biomes that exist inside those caves will actually sit underneath a completely non-related biome. So I guess it's like this layering of biomes that has started to happen. Alright, so the next thing you got to notice is this generation of new absolutely massive caves. And some of them are simple to see and some aren't. We're kind of used to the spiraling or the spaghetti style caves where you can kind of get really lost and there are kind of minor small openings. But if we kind of look here, and to be honest with you, when you're flying around, these cave openings just grab your attention. And if we jump down into this one, let's have a look, and we will notice that this new type of cave opening is now appearing. Now, so for education, we know we work a lot around or within the biome worlds, and that this may fall or play a part in what we teach. But these caves have got absolutely massive, definitely not what we're used to, and it's pretty impressive. Alright, so our next one is one that I actually kind of stumbled across by trying to dig my way out, and it's a flooded cave. So it doesn't matter where I go in here, there isn't actually a way out, so you do kind of have to dig and find these caves. But they've definitely been added, along with we're seeing a lot more kind of rivers that are forming as well inside of caves. Alright, so our next type of cave are the Lush Caves, which everyone's kind of been waiting for to come in. You do need to be in a very similar biome to this one, kind of any of your forest or jungle ones. So here we go, we've got again another massive cave, so a good example of that. But if I move down, normally you do have to have quite low coordinates for this to work. So that's my Y, needs to get close to dropping into the negatives, and there we are there. So I can explore and find the lush part of the caves, which we know is new and came out with the Caves and Cliffs edition. And this cave too, which is a lush cave, was an example I wanted to show you about how we have this desert biome, but as we move down into the caves here, we will notice that it is actually a lush cave that exists underneath the biome. So it's kind of like two biomes layered on top of each other. Not sure where I'm going or if I'm going to get lost in here, but essentially that's the second example of the lush caves and that 3D biome distribution that's happening as well. Another one of our new caves that have also come in is our Dripstone Cave, so we can actually see that happening. Again, these items were kind of sitting in our inventory in the last update, but the caves themselves weren't really there yet. So we can now see that they have been added on. And again, just like before, these caves are absolutely massive now. Much wider open expanse that's happened in this beta update. All right, so our next one is our kind of our new high points. The old vertical high point used to be at about Y256, and so that has increased. And so this was kind of like some of the highest points I could find. There probably is or might be higher points in the game, but this was kind of the highest that I could find. So if we come over to this point, we can kind of see, I've kind of got that beta script running up over the top of my coordinates, but if we sit here at this point, oops, there we go. We're sitting at 246, so we're pretty close. But what it does mean is that we can actually build up, or we can build higher from there. So our original Y build point only let us go up as high as 256 blocks on the Y, but now you can go up to 320. So I'm not quite at 256 there, I'm pretty close, which is the old one. I'm at 247 by the looks of it. So if I come over here and we decide to build up, I'm eventually going to get stopped when I hit 320. Nearly there, 10 and 20, there it is there. So I can't build beyond that point. So although I can kind of barely see my mountains down there, that's our new Y build point to the top. Now, equally, the Y to the base has changed as well. So if we kind of explore that. Now, originally, so if we drop down, you would have just got to 0, and 0 would have been your build point where you would have stopped. So right here, you wouldn't been able to build down any further. But if we have a look, I'll put it here somewhere, don't know why, there we go. I can actually go down even further. So I can, if we watch this, I'm going to end up going through, but I'm going to try and stop myself. There we go. This position. There we go. All right, so we're sitting at about -64 is our range. So you can go from -64 on the Y all the way up to 320 now for your build space. The next thing we've kind of noticed in this beta version is that the spawning of mobs has changed slightly. Obviously, if you spawn them yourself, that they will appear where you want to spawn them, but you can kind of see, I've got it turned on, and actually this is a good example of this 3D biome world generation happening again, this overlaying of biomes on top of each other. But I can't see any of the mobs spawning, or basically like our monster mobs, sorry, I should clarify that. So your normal ones, your chickens and your pigs and your horses and that will still spawn. The way to get them to spawn, or the way to find them, is now that they have to be in a dark place, and you can avoid the spawning of them by essentially lighting up those spaces if you need to, if you're playing it in that mode. Remember, if you just keep it on peaceful, that they won't spawn at all. All right, so I've gone pretty deep into a cave. I'm trying to find somewhere nice and dark, and then hopefully, there we go. So, I mean, I've got mine set so they won't attack me, but this is now where they'll spawn. So if it is turned on, they just won't spawn in the daylight, essentially. All right, so there's kind of not much more. You've got a couple of things around ore distribution or ore veins. The parameters around them are just kind of been changed to suit the new caves and the new build parameters that exist. There's some new music as well if you have the music turned on when you're playing. I know that's turned off a lot for some classrooms. But please remember, if you're wanting to test out beta, you're in that education group for Minecraft, that you make sure that either you're moving your whole class onto beta, or you're doing it on a separate device, because you will more than most likely lose that hosting or that multiplayer functionality. Alright, if you want to check out more, make sure you have a look at the links in the description. But that is the most recent beta that is currently in testing for Minecraft Education Edition. We will see you again soon. Cheers.